I have recurring dreams, and I experience sleep paralysis to the point where I doze off for 10-15 random minutes. In the car or at college, it doesn't matter where. And when I become conscious again, I can't move my body for a few seconds. I think seconds. But it feels like an eternity in the panic I experience. I struggle to open my eyes, and it's as if I'm partially fainting, falling back into that state of unconsciousness. At some point, I felt someone grabbing my hand. I felt something pressing on my chest, and I felt myself sinking into the mattress, gasping for breath. I felt scales on the back of my hand, as if a snake were crawling on it. Every time, I wake up the same way. My body trembles, I cry, I can't breathe, I hyperventilate. I feel my whole body pulsating because my heart is beating way too strongly, and I can't go back to sleep. I've been living alone for a year, and I have moments of anxiety, and sometimes I don't sleep for days, because I feel like I'm being watched by something throughout the house. At the beginning, for the first 6 months, it wasn't like this. I was very happy when I moved, and I didn't have any major life changes that could lead me to believe that these nightmares and sleepless nights could be caused by that. I've never had a healthy sleep schedule, but now it's the worst, and I'm very afraid of what could happen to me in the long term. Sometimes I feel like I see things out of the corner of my eye, and I ignore them because I think it's just my imagination. At one point, when I was struggling to wake up, I thought I heard a man's voice, and a shiver ran down my spine, snapping me back to reality. I assumed it might have been a neighbor talking to his partner. I've been thinking about seeing a psychologist for a while now. I have friends who advise me to go to a priest instead. I don't even know what to do. I feel very confused and terrible. My parents either tell me it's normal or suggest that I should pray, and it's frustrating me. During REM, rapid eye movement sleep, the body goes through a temporary muscular paralysis known as atonia, during which the brain exhibits activity similar to the wakeful state. Blood pressure increases, breathing becomes irregular, and the eyes move rapidly in all directions, hence the term rapid eye movement. The temporary paralysis in REM sleep allows us to dream safely while remaining still, as the brain remains active. This paralysis affects most skeletal muscles, but excludes the muscles that help us breathe, digest, and some eye muscles. If you wake up during sleep paralysis, there is a period where you are literally paralyzed until your body realizes you are awake. If you experience lucid dreaming, you are often aware of your paralysis while asleep. Sleep paralysis can be frightening and is akin to claustrophobia. Many people also report perceiving demons or other entities pressing upon them. One of the most infamous of these experiences is known as the night hag, with the terminology varying in different cultures. In Romania, it is often referred to as moroi. Long story short, to escape from sleep paralysis, what you need to do is focus on a small muscle, such as a finger or a toe. Your brain primarily focuses on immobilizing large muscles, so if you try, your fingers can move. As soon as you move them, the chemical in your brain, glycine and GABA, gradually starts to dissipate. Once you can move your fingers freely, move on to a larger muscle, like your hand. When you can move your hand freely, try your arm. Little by little, you can gradually overcome the paralysis until you are fully mobile again. I have done this a few times, and I haven't been stuck in paralysis for long because of it. Stay calm and concentrate on moving your fingers. I would recommend going to a psychologist or psychiatrist soon. What you're experiencing is affecting you deeply, and it's not normal. You need to find a diagnosis and treatment. You don't have time for old wives' remedies and priests. You don't have to tell your family if you don't want to avoid judgment, etc. But you should do it so that you can have a normal life. Piggybacking on the top comment, I recommend going directly to a psychiatrist because if you are sleep-deprived enough to hallucinate, it's already an urgent matter. They may be able to provide you with temporary relief through treatment, allowing you to address the underlying issue. They will likely recommend establishing a nighttime routine. If you search for sleep hygiene online, you'll find essential tips. When I had sleep paralysis, these tips didn't help me much, but what did help was sleeping on my stomach. However, if you're experiencing episodes at college or in the car, it may not be as effective. Another piece of advice, easier said than done, is to try to relax when it happens. If you know it's sleep paralysis, recognize the symptoms, and understand that it's all in your brain, Tell yourself that there can't be people or snakes in your house. You can try counting or reciting a poem until it passes. I've read that trying to fight it can make it worse. My worst episode was when I tried to struggle and force myself awake. Okay, listen to my story. Maybe it will help, who knows? A fairly wealthy family, a doctor and a lawyer, bought a 2-bedroom apartment for their son, who was a medical student. They furnished it with the latest custom-made furniture, replaced the radiators with serious ones, and left him alone saying, "Maybe you'll find a girl." Everything was fine for a while, until he started experiencing symptoms like the ones you described. His parents tried all sorts of remedies, including seeing a psychologist, psychiatrist, and conducting tests within the medical system. The symptoms worsened with the onset of winter. Eventually, the young man met a girl, and things escalated quickly. She ended up staying at his place for Christmas, and they spent the night together. Afterward, both of them woke up screaming, and the girl left his apartment in the middle of the night, never to return. He had an excruciating headache. He refused to stay in the apartment, claiming it was cursed. An old woman had died in there, and it seemed her children had left her to die of hunger to sell the apartment. They brought in a priest, performed a service, and eventually convinced the young man to return. The symptoms continued throughout the winter, and he spent more time at his parents' place. They didn't know what to do until they heard that it might be due to gas leaks. They called in a specialist with various detectors, but there were no gas leaks. However, the new custom-made furniture had some phenolic lacquers resins that had long been banned but looked splendid. These lacquers emitted gases that weren't very smelly. It smelled like new furniture, but they were highly toxic. The parents raised a huge scandal at the furniture company because they had serious connections. His mother knew people in the prosecutor's office, and his father was a renowned doctor. They took the furniture outside and set it on fire, and the company was fined and closed down. I believe there was even an article in the local newspaper. They got furniture from IKEA, tested it with the detector, and the young man and his girlfriend recovered, and so did their pet monkey. They lived happily ever after. Long story short, OP, check your furniture or if adhesives, laminates, or other types of freshly installed flooring have been used recently. If possible, try sleeping with the windows slightly open. If your symptoms improve or disappear, it could be poisoning from these nasty solvents.